Good morning, everyone. Today we discussed about the acid, bases, and salt. Revision session of acid, bases, and salts. In this chapter, we started from the type of acid, bases, and indicators, etc. I have some questions related to this chapter. The first question is, what is an olfactory indicator? And name the three olfactory indicators. My second question is, what is amphoteric oxide? Name two amphoteric oxide and how do you show that two which you write in your answer is amphoteric in nature. To show the amphoteric nature of like zinc oxide and aluminum oxide, you must write how they are acidic and how they are basic in the given equation. So I have some questions related to this chapter. First I will explain all the questions. There are 15 questions related to this topic which I selected today, and you must answer these questions. I will discuss all these questions and you must answer these questions in your home assignment today, for today's home assignment. So let's start from the first question. Here is the first question. Write the chemical formula. Write the chemical formula and chemical name of, there is three chemicals: washing soda, baking soda and bleaching powder. Write the chemical formula and chemical name. So start from the washing soda. What is the chemical formula of washing soda? It is Na2CO3 10H2O, and write its chemical name, means it is decahydrated sodium carbonate. Likewise, baking soda. What is baking soda? Chemical formula of baking soda is NaHCO3 and its chemical name is sodium hydrogen carbonate. Bleaching powder. Write the formula of bleaching powder. As you know, CaOCl2 and its name is calcium oxychloride. Second question is, write the color of the following compound with their formula. First write the color. Write all these compound, then make two lines like this, and first you write color and then the compound, the chemical formula. So pentahydrated copper sulfate, it is blue. Calcium hemihydrated calcium sulfate, it is white. Heptahydrated ferrous sulfate, it is green. Green vitriol, so it is green. Decahydrated sodium carbonate, it is white. Bleaching powder is white. Lead iodide, it is yellow. Barium sulfate, it is white. And copper oxide is black in color. Question number 3 is, what happens when gypsum is heated? And give equation. Gypsum is heated. Some students always ask me about the temperature at which gypsum is heated to form plaster of Paris. Then what happens when gypsum is heated? When gypsum is heated, it converted into plaster of Paris. So give equation for this question. In this question, gypsum CaSO4 2H2O when heated above 100 degrees Celsius, it is about 120 to 160 degrees Celsius. It is heated. When gypsum is heated, it converted into CaSO4 half H2O. And what is my next question is, what is why plaster of Paris is called so? In this question, why plaster of Paris? Why is plaster of Paris, POP, is called so? Because gypsum is found in Paris. Gypsum is found in Paris. So it is called plaster of Paris. When gypsum is heated, plaster of Paris is formed. What is baking powder? What is baking powder? It is a mixture of sodium, hydrogen carbonate and tartaric acid. This is your fourth question. Next, fifth question is what happens when baking soda is heated? When baking soda is heated, baking powder means sodium carbonate is formed along with CO2 and H2O. So, give equation here. What is soda ash? This question is already discussed. So, write soda. What is soda ash? It is anhydrous sodium carbonate. When sodium carbonate is strongly heated, soda ash is formed. Next question is question number 7. Name the substances used in Solvay's process for the formation of baking soda. In the Solvay's process, there are brine solution, means sodium carbonate, water, and carbon dioxide gas is passed through this solution. So CO2 is third and ammonia is fourth. Finally, sodium hydrogen carbonate along with ammonium chloride is formed in this reaction, in this process, Solvay's process. Eighth question. Next question is, write the chemical reaction which occur in soda acid fire extinguisher. You must write the chemical reaction soda acid fire extinguisher. Which chemical is present in soda acid fire extinguisher? Concentrated sulfuric acid and sodium hydrogen carbonate. Soda is sodium hydrogen carbonate. So write the equation of this reaction. During the next question is question number 9. During the electrolysis of brine solution, which gas is evolved at cathode and at anode? And why this process is called chlor-alkali process? First part of this question is cathode. Hydrogen gas is collected over cathode and chlorine gas is collected over anode. Next is why it is called chlor-alkali process? Because sodium hydroxide and chlorine. Alkali means sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide and chlorine is formed in this process. So this process is also known as chlor-alkali process. Next question is why acid is always added to water, not water is added to acid during the dilution of acid. During the dilution of an acid. So why acid is always added to water? Because it's an exothermic process. It is a highly exothermic process. When we add water to acid, it starts splashing and it may burns. Name 2 antacid with their chemical formula. Write 2 antacid as sodium hydrogen carbonate and magnesium hydroxide. Write its chemical formula. Next question is zinc oxide. As I asked, zinc oxide is an amphoteric oxide. So zinc oxide is an amphoteric oxide. To explain this, you must write 2 equations where zinc acts as an acid and zinc acts as a base. Zinc oxide plus dilute HCl and zinc oxide plus sodium hydroxide. You must write the 2 equations of this reaction. Then write 3 neutral oxides. The neutral oxides are water, carbon monoxide and nitric oxide, NO. Write the acid and base need to form ammonium sulfate. By which acid and which base it is formed, and also write the nature of the salt. And the last question is what is olfactory indicator? Name 3 olfactory indicators. Other than this, some questions are related to the pH. What is the pH before meal, after meal? It is very important question. Next is what is the pH of water for the survival of aquatic animals? Which acid is found in bee sting? It is formic acid, whose formula is HCOOH. Okay. Some more questions to discuss here. It's question number 16. Name 2 synthetic indicators. You know the answer very well. Write the formula of borax? It's Na2B4O7 Why nitric acid is not used in the preparation of hydrogen gas? Because nitric acid is a very good oxidizing agent. It oxidizes hydrogen to water. Next question is, name a non-volatile liquid. Name a non-volatile liquid acid. This question is very, very important. So, always remember the non-volatile acid is sulfuric acid. So, it is used in the electrolysis process. Here is one word question, 5-6 questions here. Give one example in each case. A basic oxide which is soluble in water, a weak mineral acid, a base which is not an alkali, a base which does not contain a metal ion, and an oxide which is a base, an acid which is an acid oxide. A basic oxide which is soluble in water. Basic oxide, sodium oxide, it is soluble in water to form sodium hydroxide. Next is a weak mineral acid. A weak mineral acid, carbonic acid. A base which is not an alkali. A base which is not an alkali, aluminum hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, etc. A base which is not contain a metal ion. A base which does not contain a metal ion, it's ammonia or ammonium hydroxide. An oxide which is a base, basic oxide, give any basic oxide. An oxide, an acid oxide, give any acidic oxide like carbon dioxide and SO2, etc. What will be the action of following substance on litmus paper? You have to write the action of blue or red litmus paper on these substances. Dry HCl, no action. Moisten ammonia gas is basic, so it turns red litmus to blue. Lemon juice, carbohydrate, soft drink, curd and soap solution. Soap solution is basic. Next question is, identify the compound X. Here is the compound X on the basis of the reaction. These are the reaction, 3 reaction given here. On the basis of these reactions, identify A, B and C. X also. Identify the compound X. Which compound X when react with zinc to form hydrogen gas? X must be, when react with zinc, give hydrogen gas. So, what is the compound X? What is the compound A, B and C? You have to answer these question by yourself. Next question is, it is exemplar question. A metal carbonate X on heating with an acid give a gas which when passed through a solution Y gives the carbonate back. First, a metal carbonate X on heating with an acid gives a gas which passed through the solution Y gives the carbonated back. That means the gas is carbon dioxide. So, this is which carbonate? It is calcium carbonate. It is calcium carbonate gives the carbonate back. On the other hand, a gas G that is obtained at anode during the electrolysis of brine solution. So, you know very well that chlorine gas is obtained at anode during the electrolysis of brine solution. So, if the gas is chlorine, when this gas is passed through this Y, then which compound is formed? The compound Z is formed. Means this is bleaching powder is formed. Explain this question and answer these question also. These are the question from the acid, bases and salt. If you have any query, any question, then ask me in the WhatsApp group. Let's discuss our chapter 3. Chapter 1, 2 and 3. These 3 chapters are in your first term. So this is the last chapter of your first term. So, this is first video of chapter 3. Metals and non-metal. The page number is 1. For metal and non-metal. So in this chapter we will study about physical and chemical properties of metal and non-metal, metalloids as well, their chemical reactions, complete chemical reactions, and the bond they form, means chemical bonding. And last topic of this chapter is metallurgy, how to extract metal from their ores. So let's start. We know that there are 3 types of elements: metal, non-metal and metalloid. First of all, let's an introduction with metalloid. As we have learnt metal, non-metal and metalloids in class 9th also. So take a quick revision. There are 7 metalloids: boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium and polonium. Always remember these 7 metalloids. This boron is from group 13, this is from 14, this is from 15 and this is from 16. Group also, you must remember the group also. So this is group 14, group 15, group 13, 14, 15 and 16. Boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium and polonium. There are 7 metalloids. And non-metals are only 80 non-metals. Non-metals are those elements, as we know that non-metals are those elements which have tendency to gain electrons. So there are 18 non-metals. Start from the last group. Group 18, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. These elements are called inert gases or noble gases. These elements are most not likely to form bond, but some of them can form bond because of their bigger size. So these are studied under non-metals. Next is group 17 elements. Group 17 elements are called halogens. As we know that these are called halogens. But in the halogens, this is astatine, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine. This astatine is a radioactive element. So we usually discuss about the fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine as halogens. These are salt forming elements, so they are called halogens. Next is group 16. This is group 14 element. This is 15, this is 16, this is 17 and this is group 18 element. Group 16 elements, which is called chalcogen, are in the non-metal group. It is oxygen, sulfur and selenium. Rest are metalloids and metals of this group 16 elements are oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium and polonium. But tellurium and polonium are, as we can see here, that tellurium and polonium are metalloids. So in the group 16 element, oxygen, sulfur and selenium are non-metals. In group 15 elements, nitrogen and phosphorus, only 2 elements are non-metals. And in group 14, only carbon is non-metal. Other 2 elements is silicon, germanium is metalloid and rest is metals. And as we know that hydrogen is a non-metal. It can gain electron and it can lose electron also. But hydrogen, we consider hydrogen as a non-metal here. So these are only 18 non-metals. You must remember these non-metals in according to their group. Next is metals. Metals, rest element in the periodic table are metals. Look at this periodic table. In this periodic table, these 2 lines, these 2 purple lines, blue indicates all blue color indicates metal, gray color indicates metalloids, and this group is noble gas, this is halogens, and rest green color indicates nonmetals. So these are nonmetals, as I explained, that these are nonmetals, these are metalloids, and rest is metals. In the metals, this group 3 to group 12 elements, the elements of between group 3 to 12, these are called D block element, or these also are called transition elements. And group 1 and 2 are called alkali metals and alkaline earth metal. These two rows shows lanthanide and actinides, which are called heavy metal. These all are heavy metals or inner transition elements. So metals of group 1 are called alkali metals and metals of group 2 are called alkaline earth metals. These metals other than these, all metals are heavy metals, and here inner transition element and inner transition element, these are the metals. So let's start the physical properties of metal. In the physical properties of metal, as we know that metals are sonorous. First of all, what is metal? Metals are those elements which have tendency to lose electrons, and non-metals are those elements which have tendency to gain electrons. Metals are sonorous, lustrous, good conductors. These are the properties of metals, but there are some exceptions as well. So we will in the definition we must write that metals are electropositive elements which have tendency to lose electrons, and non-metals are those elements those electronegative elements which have tendency to gain electrons. With this introduction, I'll stop here. I am going to stop my video, but in the next session we will discuss about the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals with exceptions. Thank you.